Hello, welcome to the Leeds Manufacturing Festival Careers Panel. The Leeds Manufacturing Festival this year can only happen with sponsors, and the sponsors this year are Leeds City College, E3 Recruitment and Next Gen Makers. Your panel are now going to introduce themselves. James, would you like to go first?
I'm James, I'm 29 and I work for a fiberglass manufacturing company called MPM. I'm a logistics team leader there. I've been there for about 8 years now.
Thank you, James. Eleanor, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
So my name's Eleanor. I work at a building products company called Secret Everbuild, and I am the chemicals team leader at that company.
Thank you, Eleanor. Tyra.
Hi, my name's Tyra Jones, 24, work for the Pumps. We make pumps, typically oil and gas, so BP, Shell. Yeah, the big profiters, we make their pumps. Been in the industry for 6.5, going 7 years now.
Thank you, Tyra. Arnie.
Hello, my name's Arnie. I work for a company called the OPM Group in Leeds. We're a printer of labels and packaging. I'm the sales director there. I've been there for 12 years now.
That's your panel today. In a few moments, you're going to get a chance to ask them some questions. The reason that the Leeds Manufacturing Festival happens is manufacturers want to employ young people. Manufacturing is a growth sector, so businesses are divided up into different types of sectors. So you've got healthcare and you've got digital, and manufacturing is one of the sectors in Leeds City region that is growing. And because it's growing, there's a demand for people to join the sector and work. So some of the sectors that are growing in Leeds City region at the moment are construction, digital, and as you'll see on the map, also manufacturing. So some of the stats in manufacturing: over 100,000 people in Leeds City region are employed in manufacturing. In West Yorkshire, there are over 5,500 different businesses of all shapes and sizes. In Leeds, manufacturing is manufacturing is the third largest. Leeds is the third largest manufacturing centre in the UK. The average salary, about 35,000. So very well paid roles. And there are a variety of different job roles that are available. So you would expect there to be engineers and fitters. But did you know there are also room for, or positions available for people that are lawyers, for accountants, for IT, for HR, for sales? Health and safety is incredibly important in the manufacturing sector. So there are health and safety roles as well. So probably I would say something for everybody. Now we've got some questions from you, and these are would you rather, so we're going to get you to put your hands up in a moment. The first question is, would you rather live and work locally or live and work far away? So if you'd rather live and work locally, can you put your hands up, please? Okay. Who would, hands down, thank you, who would rather live and work far away? Quite a few people who want to do some travelling, including people on the panel. The next question's one that's really interesting, I think. So who would rather work in a job that they love or work in a job that they hate but is really, really well paid? So if you'd rather work in a job that you love, could you put your hand up, please? Quite a few people. Okay, so who's money motivated? Who doesn't mind hating their job but really, really wants to earn lots of money? Okay. It's not a bad thing, absolutely. Excellent. So this is your panel. You've now got a chance to ask them some questions. So before you ask the first question, though, I'd like to know a bit more about what manufacturing is. So Arnie, can you tell us what manufacturing is, please?
Yeah, manufacturing is the creation of goods and services, business to business or business to consumer. Whether it be, we pick some examples of chairs or floors or labels like I do, or pumps. Essentially, they are used by other businesses to then create more products and sell to an end user. And that is the easiest way to explain what manufacturing is.
Thanks, Arnie. Who wants to ask a question to the panel? Thank you. Has anyone on the panel had a change of career? James?
So I started off as a joiner, wanting to be a joiner from school. So I went to Leeds College of Building and did a 3-year apprenticeship in site joinery. After that, while I got to the end of that, the company I was working for made me redundant. So from there I had to sort of look at other aspects of work, and the joinery game back then wasn't as it is now where it's booming. So I went through a couple of phases of different jobs and stuff like that, and then I decided to go to a recruitment agency, and then they got me an interview at MPM where I am now, and I've been there ever since. So I've got both sides of the construction side, where I've seen people who are sparkies, plumbers, bricklayers, etc., and now I've got the side of the manufacturing side, which, to be fair, I do more like the manufacturing side than the bricks, the plumbers, the electricians, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, that's my sort of different array of sides of job.
What was your first job, Arnie?
I actually worked in a merchandise van at Leeds Rhinos. So I was selling scarves, hats, shirts on the odd occasion in the car park in the Leeds Rhinos home game. So I had to talk, and I was actually in the away end typically. So I had to talk to all sorts of people from different places, different teams that were coming in, basically abusing me. And I had to try and sell them either Rhinos merch or just random merch I had in the truck. So that was kind of my baptism of fire into sales, really. And I was about 17, 18 at that point, so probably your age now. So that was my first job. And it's bad pay as well, by the way. Not enough for what I did.
My first sort of, I had a few like little jobs. So my first sort of job was selling homemade lemonade with my auntie. It wasn't just like me on a stall on a street corner. It was like a genuine thing. We went to like Yorkshire shows. The Great Yorkshire Show was one in Wheaton show, and it was, honest to God, the best. You can't have lemonade any other way once you've had it. And then after that, I had a newspaper round, quite cliche, when I was about 6, I think I was about 15 to be fair. And then I worked in Sainsbury's cafe and a waitress. So I did all the quite cliche jobs before I ended up in an apprenticeship and where I am today.
Yeah, I was working for a family friend doing landscaping. That's how I sort of got my hands on the construction sort of side of stuff. And then, as I say, from school, I went straight into an apprenticeship and just worked my way through that, and then found this place, and here I am still today at that.
So my first job whilst in sixth form, I was working at a cafe. So that allows you to interact with customers and kind of gauge what people are like. And then straight from school, I went into HR, so a little bit different to manufacturing, opposite ends of the spectrum. Found I couldn't stand it, sat behind a desk constantly, had to be moving, don't know what it is with me, but have to be on my feet, doing something, solving problems, and that's what put me into manufacturing instead.
Arnie, what do you like about working in manufacturing?
Some days nothing. It's definitely a bit more stressful than non-manufacturing, I would say, I'll be honest with you. But I think when you create something and when you create a product, it's quite rewarding. For me, I can go down any supermarket and I can look left and right on the aisles, and I can see something that's been made in Leeds in OPM, which I think is pretty cool and pretty rewarding for me and our team. So I think when you create something, there's a sense of reward there. But on the flip side, I won't lie, it is challenging. There's a lot of things that do cause challenges and issues. So because it's so hard, when the good times come, it's even better, I would say.
Tara, what are the top 2 qualities or skills that your business looks for when hiring?
I would say first and foremost is your attitude. If you have the go-getting, the I can do it, the perseverance, the resilience to build yourself and to work within a team and to be open to change, because you've got to understand the market and the global structure, everything's changing from the way we're living to now to how it was 10 years ago to the energy prices to everything is changing. If you can change and work well with people and have an open mindset and attitude, that would be my first and foremost. When someone doesn't have that, you're a lot more rigid and you're a lot more harder and you're a lot less flexible and you're a lot less appealing to a business that is forever going through change. I'd also say is time management is probably a biggie, especially in my industry, with regards to your deadlines and everything. If we don't hit set deadlines, it then stops production. You stop production, you're stopping £1 million, £2, £3, £10 million order out the door. You then causing £750,000 in liquidated damages because the customer's not got their pump to pump the oil, which costs a fortune. So it's a big money industry for me. So it's time. Time is of the essence. Time is money.
Arnie, tell us where you've travelled as part of your role, please.
A lot of places. This year I've been to Holland, Germany, France, Italy, Portugal, and Denmark. I mean, in my career, I don't know, there's too many to really kind of list off. But yeah, that's the fortunate thing for me being in my role. In manufacturing is I get to travel, meet people, go see new clients, new suppliers. You know, I touched on it in the year nines, is no matter what role you kind of work within, you know, manufacturing, even if you're on the shop floor on a machine, as a business we purchase our machines from Copenhagen in Denmark. When we purchase a machine, we want the operators and the guys around it and the girls around it to go to Denmark, to go to Copenhagen, to spend a week on that machine before it comes into Leeds. So even if you're not customer facing, supplier facing, you still get opportunities to go and essentially visit new places and see new people. And for me, that's the most rewarding part for my role is meeting new people and you know, seeing new places.
Tyra, tell us about deadlines and targets.
Well, my job is a production planning team leader. Everything is to a plan, to a schedule. Deadlines are as of the essence. Myself, a basic concept with regards to the pump manufacturing is it is so expensive. The pumps are costing millions of pounds per pump. If we have an order of like 32 pumps, you're talking tens of hundreds of millions of pounds. Them customers want them pumps for a reason. They cost that much for a reason. They're going to typically an oil site. That oil site is producing barrels of oil, and we all, or maybe not everybody, but all your parents might know, is oil prices are like that. Typically, they stay at around $70 a barrel on a good day, 80, 90. But if you think they produce a barrel of oil, we're talking in seconds. So they're losing however many hundreds of pounds a minute or thousands, and then times that by a day, a week, if we're late and we don't ship it in time. If we don't ship certain projects in time, depending on where it is that the pump is based, we have set windows. So during like tornado season, we can't travel to some certain points of the world. So if you miss that, that could be 3 months. You've just delayed a client. That client's kicking off. They're not then placing a second order with you. They're not then just going, oh, it's all right, my pump's a little bit late. Do you know what? I'll just lose out on £1 billion. They want compensating. And that stems from everything. So from my day-to-day job, if I don't do my tasks on time, the next person doesn't do their task on time. And it's a domino effect. It's a knock-on. So for us, time and schedules is like the key driver of our business. You place an order for a phone, or even when you go to food for a restaurant, you want it in a timely manner. You're hungry, you've ordered it for a reason. If it's late, what you're doing, you're complaining, you're going, where's my food? And then when they're not giving it, right, I want compensating, I want free chips, I want my meal paying for, I want an extra drink. It's the exact same, just times it by a few million. That's sort of why it's quite important.
Excellent answer, thank you. Eleanor, tell us which project you're most proud to have worked on, please.
So with my time at my company, I had the opportunities to work with the projects team on a new powder transfer system. So typically with what we make, you know, like sealants that go around your bathtubs and things like that to lock in, well, keep water out and around your window frames and things. We have to add powders in 25 kilo bags into a machine. Now that can be quite heavy and time consuming, say if the person gets tired. So we wanted to have an automatic system where you press a button and that puts in the amount of powder that you need. So my role within that was to commission this project and find out how many tons per hour it could transfer. Is it going to be worthwhile money? You know, money wise, we've spent 1.1 million on this new machine. Are we actually saving any money? Health and safety, is it better? You're not breathing in powder, it's all in a contained system now. All things like that. So to be part of that was quite interesting.
What types of jobs in manufacturing are in demand at the moment, James?
For us, really, every job, from production to finishing to fork truck drivers, every job at the minute, really. We've got that much demand coming in from suppliers and customers that we need to keep on pushing the younger generation in. So you guys are the next generation of manufacturers, and it's very important to us. You know, we need to make sure that you guys get a feel of what it's like, or even if you go home today and take a bit away from us guys, what we've spoke about, and you go do a bit of research yourself about each of us companies, you might find that you want to come and have a look around one of our factories, which you're all you know, we're all happy to accommodate each one of you to come round and have a look, so we can give you a better give you a better, you know, view of what we do, other than us just saying, oh, we make fiberglass parts. You guys are going to sit there and not understand what fiberglass parts unless I start saying, oh, we make bath panels and shower trays and baths, stuff like that you've got in your house, you know about. But from sewage tanks to home delivery parts for Morrison's and Tesco's and Asda, we make all them sort of stuff. We make boats for £1 million yachts. You know, there's a variety of different products that are made out of fiberglass that you guys probably don't even know about. So yeah, you guys are the sort of next generation for us. And
all of them, like what James said, our order book this year has just trebled. So within the first quarter of the year, we're already at about £60 million intake with our for order worth. So we need a surge of people. We need a surge of skills, because this isn't just a little spike in load. This is now staying for the next 3 to 5 years, and then we'll level out and be like a standard 50 mil. And so you need to train up them people, get the key skills, and your youth is what drives a lot of that. You bring a lot of technical knowledge that lacks in all of our industries. You've got to think manufacturing's been around for hundreds of years. You've got people still doing pen and paper for set processes and set ways of recording things, and which can, in a fire, they're all gone. In the wind, they're all burnt away. If you drop oil on it, it's gone. We need people who are technologically savvy to, you know, create things to make them automative, to make them more user-friendly, to streamline them and innovate them. And that is where you guys have a skill that a lot of people don't within the manufacturing industry, and maybe start looking at it in that way and what you can bring, because you offer a lot to these industries. You just need to, you know, find it out. And I think for young people, it's about setting yourself in an industry that you can go anywhere in. All these industries are all transferable skills. They're all where you can start and work your way up, and you can diversify and go global and travel with it. And that's what I think for young people, it's a good opportunity in the manufacturing industry. It's worldwide. You're not limited at all.
Arnie, does your business employ school leavers? Would you employ school leavers, and what sort of roles might come up?
Yes, we do. Actively looking for school leavers, and obviously why I'm here today, apprenticeships. But I think, and again, I touched on this in the year 9s, it's something where that creative role, and that includes front end, it includes graphic design, it includes the reprographics. We design, we work on many projects with blue chips where we're helping them design their products or working on their brand, and also back end. So in the finishing teams, or the printing, or the ink mixing, or the ink management, where you're learning and you're training to become a printer, which pays good money. It's you know, rewarding in terms of you create something, you create a fully a real product. So it just depends on where you fit into it and what you want to get out of it. I always say that our business kind of offers endless opportunities for younger people, because you know, you can bring energy and you can bring new skills into it to test the old guard that have been there for years and years and years. I've got guys who have been there for 20, 25 years who are very much set in a way of working in all roles. So we need the likes of you guys to come in and kind of push them and bring something new to the table. So, yeah, I don't want to say all roles, but most roles, I would say.
Whose job's changed since COVID started?
Mine's a lot less. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say everyone. I mean, working in sales for me, obviously before COVID, I would go to see clients every day, and then come to see me. When COVID hit, we had to continue working. We worked into the medical, the food, all kind of key markets. So we were a key supplier in that. So we continued to work, but it meant that I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't see any clients. I couldn't, knock on any doors. I couldn't really do anything useful in terms of that. But it meant Teams came along and Zoom and, using the phone and email more. So it did change my role specifically a massive amount in terms of our business. We got busier, but it didn't necessarily change how we operated internally. We obviously spaced out a bit and all the rest of it, and that's kind of gone now. But yeah, I think it changed people's perception of the need to see people so often. I've got clients that are in Brighton, for example, and I used to go down and see them 4 times a year. Now I might go down and see them at Christmas, and I might have a Teams call 3 times a year with them. So it saves me the journey, it saves them the time a little bit. So that has changed, especially in outward-facing roles, for sure. Do you want to do your bit? No?
Oh, me? Not my job hasn't changed at all. I was key worker and we had to go in. But the industry and our company quite suffered with regards to COVID. There was a lack of orders. Obviously, the sort of whole world stopped, didn't it? Everyone just was at home at some point. So everything sort of stopped, all the cogs stopped turning. So the sort of manufacturing for the oil and gas for pumps sort of came to a bit of a freeze, and we didn't get any orders. We had a big load deficit because of it, but on the back of that we've now got a huge surge, and that's why our order intake's just like trebled, and so that was our repercussion, which unfortunately did come with I think about 10 or 20 redundancies across our site, which is about 500 people is our site, so not too big of a percentage, but we did suffer a little bit.
With regard to COVID, your education was, you had to be very flexible, didn't you? You had to change the way that you learned. And one of the things that you'll hear from manufacturers and people in the world of work is the world of business is changing all of the time. And employers want people, manufacturers want people that are flexible. You've had to be flexible with your learning. You've had to adapt to change. And those are things that you can bring to employers, and you can impress employers with your experience of how you adapted to change. So I think you should see it as a positive. Can we take another question, please? Before interviewing somebody for a job, does a company look at social media? I work with companies in manufacturing and a number of other sectors. I always ask them this question. 50% of companies will search for you on social media. They will Google you, and that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to find out about you. So if they search and they see a TikTok video or a YouTube video, and you've on there doing some community work or raising money for charity, they will definitely want to interview you. Even if your CV is not the strongest, they'll be really impressed. However, if they search for you on social media and they find some posts that are maybe racist or homophobic or misogynistic, they won't interview you. They might not even tell you why. You might just never hear from them again. There are instances of people that have been offered jobs, even started jobs, and then somebody searches on social media and finds something that puts them off employing them. Some employers employ somebody whose job specifically is to search social media for their current staff. So people have been in jobs for a long time, worked really hard to get where they are, and then end up losing their dream job, maybe for something that they posted when they were a teenager. And nothing is private. Once you've published it, even if you've got really strong privacy settings, somebody can screenshot that and put it out there publicly. So you need to be really careful about what you post. Can we take another question, please? What research should you do before applying for a job in manufacturing, Tyra?
Oh, James. It was an all James. Oh, fine. I'll go with this. I would always do some background. Sorry, can I just ask the question again? Was it just specific to manufacturing, or was it for a job interview? Just for manufacturing. I would definitely do some research into what sector of the manufacturing industry you want to go in, because it's so big, it's so diverse, and there's so many different levels. depending on you as an individual, I would look at the opportunities it gives you. If you're someone like myself that the sort of constantly wanting a challenge, wanting to go to the next level, wanting to be a managing director or a senior manager or a legal entity head or anything, global, blah, 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 whatever title you would like, look and see if that industry offers that. Look and see. I went into my industry, yes, the money is very nice. That is also a big part, but I also went because girls and females are less thought of in my industry. I know that there's a market for that. I know that there's a lack of that, so they're going to be wanting to employ me. You've got to be clever about it. If you go into an industry that's very heavily already populated, you've got to work twice as hard to get to what you want. In a bit of a cheap way out, go to an industry that's not got as many people or many females or whatever it is that they need, and harness that, grasp it and run with it. I'm the youngest supervisor for my company. I was 23, and I'm the first female supervisor for my company at 23. I'm running with it. Why not? They've given me this sort of little bit of power. Might as well be a decent female in that industry and get that respect on your name, and then take it wherever you want. But if you're also wanting to coast as well, do the exact same. Look and see if it's stable. If you just want to be in this industry, look and see how stable it is. Am I going to be here 10 years, 5 years, 20 years? Am I going to do an industry and then bunny hop to another because I don't know? I might like that, but I might like that. Have a look and see what skills you can transfer from one to the other, because that is also quite respected within the manufacturing industry. You can be trained as a mechanical engineer, but we will also equally respect someone with the qualifications of an electrical or a chem engineer. It's all the same.
What would put you off employing somebody, James?
Not turning up to an interview on time or being a bit earlier. That's one key thing that I sort of look at if we're interviewing anybody, or our company looks at, is time, time management. If you go in for any interview, turn up at least 10 to 15 minutes before you're due to, because it'll give a good impression on the company that you're going to go for the job for. And again, just give it all, like, offer some days, that give them a couple of days free of work, see what you can do, see what skills you've got, what they offer. They might say that they're this sort of thing on the job that you're applying for, but then when you get there and you get the job, it's not that case. So do a couple of days free to find out what the company's actually like, and then if you enjoy it and they think that you're fit for the job role, they'll employ you straight away. So yeah.
Arnie, how should young people prepare for an interview, please?
I didn't have a proper interview when I did mine, to be fair. It was a bit of a dinner. It wasn't proper, but I think you have to do the research on the company. I think you have to really kind of dig into there. You're going to get asked questions about the company and how you would fit into that, and the kind of culture and the values of that company. That's really important now for employers to understand. And I would just really try and be the best you and yourself. I think if you go in there and you're honest and you're upfront, I don't think you can go wrong, really. I think people want more and more to see kind of authenticity. That's really all I can say. If you do too much and overthink it, you'll go in somewhere and you won't come across very well. So try not to do that.
Thank you. Let's get another question, please. Eleanor, when you have a problem or an issue at work, what would you do to tackle that?
So I'd firstly say it depends on what type of problem it is. So with what I work in, say with chemicals, you might have a chemical spill. How do you sort that out? So there's certain procedures and roads you need to go down with that. You need to have a look at what you've spilled, find the cost sheet, which is, chemical safety sheet. How's that going to affect the person if it's got on somebody? Is it going to cause somebody to slip and trip up? So there's a lot of you can't just go, let's just put some paper towels down. There's a lot of different things you need to think about. Say with machines and things, if something stops, you need to find the root cause. So when was it last serviced? Has it been checked on? When did maintenance last look at this machine? root cause is a big thing within manufacturing, I'd say, especially in my sector.
Tyra, have any of your hobbies or interests outside of work helped you inside work, please?
Yeah, well, I think it added a bit of value. So I've played football my entire life since I think I was about 4 or 5. I started at striker 9, then into a grassroots, and then got into academy at 12, and sort of left academy when I was about 16, 17. So I played when I was at grassroots, I was the captain, and I think for those who do play football or understand it, captain at grassroots is really just going up for coin toss. It's about it. There's not really any responsibilities or anything like that tied to it, I felt. Then when I went to academy and was the captain for Bradford City and for Leeds United for the 5 years I was there, you got analysed on how you were creating the team environment, how you were picking up morale. I've actually, one of my best favourite trophies is I got Player of the Year with my name inscribed in it, and it was, the reasoning was because I was boosting morale. So, think about it, you have to get almost in your own head and go, no, it is 0-0, we're not actually 2-0 down, clean start, and you have to jeer everybody up, and you've got to drive that. And I think at academy level it held a lot more, it sort of gave me a lot more skills that what I've transferred in today, because it was looking at myself and how I can influence others. And that is exactly probably why I'm in the leader position I am in today, supervising my team. I think without that sort of being embedded from quite a young age, I think it'd be quite hard to struggle and understand everyone learns at different rates, everyone has different learning skills, everyone thinks differently, everyone has a different background, opinion, culture, everything. So I could think one thing and think quite strongly about it, but in my position, I can't be biased. I have to give that person the same amount of respect and thought I would give myself. And that's one thing that no one can really just teach you. There's no course to just pick that up and overnight develop it. It's something you've got to start looking at from quite I'd probably say your age now, and start thinking about the people around you and who you affect. Even your teachers, yes, they've come to work to do a job. They might be having a really rough time at home. You've got no idea. And vice versa for teachers to you. You could be having a really rough time, and they're still trying to do their job. And it's about understanding that everyone has something going on, but how are we all going to get together? How are we all going to work together? And that's what I think is really big, what helped me with football, as weird as it sounds.
Doesn't sound weird at all. It was a great answer. What advice do you wish you were given as a young person, James?
For me, it'd have been concentrate more at school, especially high school. High school wasn't really good for me. I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't sort of my thing, and that really messed up my GCSEs. So when I was doing my apprenticeship to be a joiner, I had to go to night school. All my pals were going home at 4:30. I've got to do maths and English till 7, 8 o'clock at night. But I had to do that to get the grades and the qualification that I needed to become a joiner. Otherwise, I'd have failed my course and then I'd have been back to square one again. So for me, yeah, that were definitely wish I'd have been taught that. If I could go back now, I'd really concentrate on my basic maths, English, and stuff like that. But yeah, cheers.
So biggest thing I would tell my younger self would be just not care what people think. If you want to go into a certain career path, that I think, what do you guys think of when you think of a factory? Do you think of like the Victorian sort of thing, people working in mills and looms and stuff like that? Because that's what I thought of at that age. So no, not at all. It's a lot more technical now. So I would say to my younger self, do your research into things like that and don't just be so narrow-minded, and just tell them university is not for you. It might not be for some of you as well, everyone's suited to different types of learning. For me personally, I had to split myself into working and learning. So in most apprenticeships you get the opportunity to go to college, so it's working out what type of learning is best for you. And if you want to learn on the job and get the knowledge and qualifications at the same time, then apprenticeships will probably be for you, definitely.
Tyra, can you tell us what an apprenticeship is, please?
I can try. So how I understand it and how I tell people when we're looking to employ apprentices is you are
doing the education, so you're getting the qualification or the degree, whichever level it is you are going to. You are doing the hands-on and learning the skill at the exact same time, the practical and the job aspect of it, and you're also getting paid to do that. So for us, for Sulzer, your first year in your apprenticeship, it's a 4-year apprenticeship, you get paid to go to college. It's just term time only. It's probably doing the same amount of work you're doing now, and you get paid, you take away about £1,000 a month after tax. Then it goes into your 2nd, 3rd and 4th year, which is where you are on site, you're developing the skill, and your pay increases every year. So as you're learning more technical knowledge and ability about the processes, and for us it's an engineering role as a whole, you gain more money. So it's about a 3 to 4 grand increment each year. And on your last year, in your 4th year, you spend most of your time in the area, say for us on the shop floor you would come out at, or within the office, wherever you've picked for your apprenticeship. You would spend most of that year focusing on that. So it's straight transfer. Once you've done your apprenticeship, you're straight into that job. Your pay also is reflected. So in your last year, you come out with your last year at 24, I think then it goes to 27, 28 in 6 months, and then you're on about 30 to 32 after your 4-year apprenticeship. So you're straight from school, 16 to 20 you'd finish thereabouts at your age, and you'd be on about 32,000 a year, and you are fully qualified. If you also do very well and get sort of a merit plus, a merit going distinction, you then are able to do a HNC qualification within that sector or that industry, and I think quite a lot of companies offer that as well, because they will invest in you to do education, because you've got to think they're putting money into something who's going to work for them at the end of the day, and they're going to get the results from. So for me, an apprenticeship is very good for, like Eleanor said, depending on your learning skills. I went and did I was exactly where you were, a few years ago, I was told, you're smart, you're in top sets, you have to do A-levels, you have to go to uni. Like, the apprenticeship were for people who weren't intellectual. That's how it was seen in sort of when I was 17 or so we're talking, 6, 7 years ago. And I did A-level maths, further maths, physics and history. And for those who do the subjects know how painful it is. It's hard. And I dropped further maths after about 3 months. But it was my grandma that went, well, you're also practical. You like building Lego and doing all like your IKEA stuff and football and everything. There's an apprenticeship here and it pays 250 quid a week. Why not? Okay, so I applied, did the tests. Best decision I've ever made, would not go back, because I'm not a self-taught person. I feel like A-level, my sister's 18, she's in the exact same boat you guys are in, and she is very intellectual and she's very self-driven. She will happily go research for 4 hours, and that's what uni's all about. And uni requires you to be very self-driven. No one's going to hold your hand at uni. No one's going to tell you to do it in and get it in on time. And that's the difference. If you're not someone who can work like that, then that's why apprenticeships are really good. But if you are someone that can work like that, by all means, go get that degree. Go to uni. It's absolutely amazing in that aspect. And it depends on what profession you want to go in. If you want to be a doctor, I'd suggest you go to uni. If you want something in the manufacturing industry, apprenticeships are very good, quick, easy way to get in for people that pretty much have a level 4+ in your basic maths and English. So it's got quite big open doors for everybody. So it's just something to think about when you're thinking of your career.
I'll just quickly touch on the advice for younger self, just because of where I am. Don't be so hard on your teachers. I think your teachers, and just hear me out, I think your teachers, some of them are really, really, good, and some are really, really hard on you, and that sort of thing. So, some are chatty, some are not so chatty. That will set you up for working in an environment when you're a bit older, because you will come across different people with different personality traits and different ways of working and different ways of communicating, just like teachers do. So if I was to talk to my younger self, I would say, don't be a little you-know-what to teachers, because they're not all the same, but neither are people in a workplace, and you need to learn how to adapt to that, adapt to different people, different ways of working, different personalities, and it will make you way more comfortable in a work environment if you can adapt to different personalities quite quickly. Be it sales, be it shop floor, be it managing someone, be it in a team. it will work you wonders. So that is the one bit of advice I would give you, because I was a nightmare at school, an absolute nightmare, and this is why I thought I'd say it, just because I'm here in a school.
Excellent advice. What makes a good CV, would you say, Tyra?
Be interesting. Stand out from the crowd. I mean, you've got to think, I recently employed someone 3 months ago, and I had about 50 CVs. I've got to sit and read all them. I want something a little bit different. I want something that's going to tell me about you. I do want to know. I had some that were very vague, and that's not going to help me. You just tell me your job title or just outline what you've done. It's right. I've not really got much to go off on that person. You tell me in depth what you've done and how that's developed you, or what you'd like to do, and be that bit more interesting. Okay, I maybe want to interview this person and give them my time of day. They stand out of the 50. They're in now the top 10. And I'd also say put on it, not hammer it in, but I would definitely touch on it, your expectations, because I think that says a lot to the company that this person wants our respect as well. It's not just about us employing someone. It's about you wanting to pick us. So I'd put your expectations for us as a company, or put something referencing, or I've researched something this about your company, and I really like that you're doing this for sustainability, or you've done this with your energy. That shows this person goes that extra mile. That person is susceptible to other things around than just here's a CV.
And also use spell check. Definitely use spell check and grammar. Good grammar and good spelling on a CV is a must.
Agreed. I've got a question for Eleanor. Eleanor, what's it like being a female team leader in manufacturing?
So this year I went from being a machine operator, so technical machine operator on nights, to being put on days as a team leader for the chemicals department, so it's like shift-based. One of the biggest challenges, I'd say, is the fact that I am the youngest on that team and I am the only female. So respect can be an issue, but I think I've definitely got that across. And I think in a manufacturing sort of environment, you do need to have a backbone. You have to, though, because you're not sat at a desk, you are doing a job, and people, you want to talk and have a laugh whilst you're doing something, you know. So it's a big challenge to be able to get the respect of people, but as long as you do your job, that is not going to be a struggle at all for any of you.
What are the key subjects that people look for to work in manufacturing, James?
I'd say your basic English and maths, really. Some companies are not massive on qualifications, but there are essential qualifications like your basic maths and English, but it all depends on you, really. If you're wanting to learn and you're interested in that sort of sector, it's all down to them, really, as a person, I'd say. You know, if you're willing to put the time and effort in and you want to learn about that company or that sector, then yeah, you know, go for it.
What's your dream job if you couldn't do the job that you're doing now? I'm really lucky. I've worked in a number of different sectors, and this is the happiest I've been. I learn from the people that come along to our events every single day, and it's great witnessing the enthusiasm of young people for the potential careers that they're going into. So I'm kind of in my dream job now. If I couldn't do this one, I would like to be either a rock star or a professional footballer, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be either of those anytime soon.
Yeah, I love what I do, but if I'm being honest with you, dream job, I love sport, and you're thinking location, travel, money, all that sort of thing. F1 driver, for sure, for me.
I'm fuming. I was going to say
The same if you want, it's fine.
be a better F1 driver than him. But I'd also like to, do you know what I'd like to also be? Someone, not necessarily, I would love to be the driver, but if not, someone who helped develop and design all the F1 cars. That I think would be very interesting.
Yeah, for me, I do love what I'm doing at the minute, but I'd probably say either a vet or working in a zoo, because I'm like, on the outside, I'm a massive animal lover. So that's my sort of dream job, yeah.
So yeah, love my current job, but a little bit similar to you in the fact that you love animals. I'd want to be like the female version of David Attenborough, so travelling around and going and filming animals. Yeah, but that really is like pie in the sky kind of dream job, isn't it? No one could do better than him.
Yeah, can we get a couple of dream jobs from you guys, or what you guys are interested in doing? Oh, fiberglass.
Yes! Green!
You've got one.
I can get you in there. Very good.
Did you have another question, miss?
Just one out of fish roll. What's the earning potential in manufacturing? Like you talked about starting salary.
Is that the money? Ah.
Yeah.
Yes. Tyra, what's the earning potential in manufacturing, please?
Change careers as well.
Right, so we started at the base. We'll start from scratch. So your 4-year apprenticeship starting about 13, 12,000 starting. Then you go to about 15 to 17. Then you go to about 20, 21. Then 25, 20, 24, 25, 28 in 6 months. Then about 30, 32. So that's in your 4 years. Myself in the supervisor bracket. Obviously, you've also got to take into account your apprenticeship. You can get overtime, so you can earn a lot more. Your supervisor bracket for people like myself is from, we've just had a pay increase, 40 to 50, about 52. Oh yes, I'm doing okay. I don't tell you where on that bracket I am. Upper end. Not with we've just had a 6.5 pay rise. Then you go on to the managers. Now that is anything from about 60 to 80. So that's just the next step up from me. Then your senior managers are about 80 to 100, given their experience, their time, pay increases, etc. Then one thing to also bear in mind, so once you go from, in my company, I don't know for yourselves, once you go supervisor onwards, you are on a salary. So it's no longer overtime. I am on like a 10% bonus. Once you get higher up the package, you go 15, 20. You can even get a 25% bonus. So if you're on 100 grand, you can get a 25% bonus. Yes, you get taxed on it, but you can get a 25% bonus. That's a one-off payment. That's not little dribs drabs here and there. That is a lump sum, which is very handy every now and again. After that, sort of, you get into the global roles. Now, within my industry, it changes. So depending on where you've been, what you've come from, every time you get a promotion, you go up. So it depends. If I did a side step and went to a manager, but I was on the higher end of the supervision, I would go towards the higher end of the manager. It's just sort of how it falls with regards to your experience. And then when you go to global, you're talking anything 100 upwards. Depends on how big the sector is. So from my MD to the CEO of Sulzer currently, I've counted how many steps, just planning it ahead. There is 5 steps, 5 steps with regards to promotion wise. Yes, there's side steps, but you can imagine, I'm assuming our MD's on 100 plus. You can imagine the amount the CEO is probably on a multi-million pound international oil business, pump business. So your money for the age, you got to bear in mind I turned 24 in October, so I'm not doing too bad to say I'm 24. If you want it quick, the manufacturing industry is where it's at, because there's such a lack of skill base that they will pay the big money for it, and they'll also gear the funding for the education, which I think a lot of people overlook. I'm currently trying to do, I'm in the middle of doing a leadership and management course, but I'm trying to do an MBA in business, which they're looking at funding, which costs however many thousands, which then allows me to become a financial director of somewhere. So you've got to look at that as well as just your income, because that can offer you more than an income.
If you want to find out more about working in manufacturing and all the different job roles that are available, the Leeds Manufacturing Festival website is a great place to start. This has been your Leeds Manufacturing Festival Careers panel. Can you give a round of applause to the panellists, please? And we'd like to thank you for coming and spending some time with us and asking the questions. Bit of a round of applause for them. And thank you, Miss, for wandering around with the goldfish bowl.